I'm waiting for you once again. Come on in, welcome, greetings and salutations. Come on in, all is a blessing. Come on in, all is a blessing. Welcome. It's Monday, Lundy. Come on in, all is a blessing. Welcome, Blog Talk Radio. Welcome, YouTube. Greetings and salutations. 845-277-9143. The chat is open at Blog Talk Radio. Welcome. Thank you. Come on in. Come on in. All is a blessing. Welcome. I'm longing for my family, coming back to you. Out of bondage and now I am free. Da 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 da. Greetings, come on in. Diane Cameron Elam. She's the producer, singer, writer, author of this song, this beautiful theme music, Diane Cameron Elam. Check her out on Twitter, Diane Cameron Elam. All is a blessing. Welcome, happy Monday, Danette Gibbs. Welcome, S. Marie. All is a blessing, beloved. Come on in. Invite a friend of me. Come on in. Papa Lake, we're here for you today. Come on in. Kayla Talk, greetings and salutations, beloved. Blog Talk Radio is fully functioning at www.blogtalkradio.com. blogtalkradio.com/the-divine-prince. The call-in number 845-277-9143. 845-277-9143. Greetings, welcome. King Josh 7, Allison Seymour, welcome. Thank you so much, beloved. Greetings. Yes, Takara. That's what it's designed to do. Eshu Elegbuana Ko Siwere Awa Unlo Uto Ne Iwo Ara Afanbo Osi Obatalami Itane Ebo Onilio Aban Eshu. Eshu is the respected elder who flogs, confronts, and uncovers fools. The one versed in mysteries uses truth to own you. He causes scatter to feed poverty. Obatala shakes rascals to have sacrifice. The owner of warnings is the one who is Eshu, Aboru, Aboye, Aboshishe, Ashe. May our Ebo reach a rune. May our Ebo be accepted. May our Ebo allow what we desire to come to pass. Bara my Nico, Indora. Bara my Yaku, Bara my Yakanda. Eshu is the one who confronts you. Eshu is the one who confronts fucking a person. Eshu, do not turn to confront on me. Eshu has definitely pulled somebody off to betray. Divine, all blessed greetings and salutations. You are now sitting live with the Divine Prince, Pan-African Spiritualist, Practitioner, Author, and Advisor, Elagoon, Oloye, Hoodoo, Obeya, Bokur. Sharing with you in all things spiritual, mystical, metaphysical, cosmic, evolutionary, revolutionary, healing, and holistic from a Pan-African Hoodoo world spiritualist perspective. understanding that all is truly and indeed a blessing. If you can just see beyond the veils, for it is all just an illusion and a test, and one of the greatest divine mysteries of this life cycle. This is indeed my constant prayer, my mantra, affirmation, reverberation, my reiteration, and it is my personal place of power and understanding, the place where I begin, the place where I realize and crystallize all my endeavors, understanding that I and I alone create and co-create my destiny, and I alone create and co-create my divine, all-blessed reality. And so it is. Ashe. Greetings, greetings. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful when the room is full at high noon, U.S. Central Standard Time, and whatever time it might be in your region. I'm always grateful, humbled, appreciative, and I am indeed emanating and vibrating with you and for you now, live, virtually, verbally, cosmically, quantum, universally, on many platforms, too many platforms to mention, but YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, my EarthCam page, and of course, my Blog Talk Radio page is up and fully functioning. So the chat is also available on blogtalkradio.com/the-divine-prince. And you can also call in at 845-277-9143. 845-277-9143. Greetings, One Wapani, beloved, my beloved sister. Greetings, Shauna Perry. Thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate you. Greetings from new listener, Valerie Taylor. Come on in, beloved. We appreciate you. Coldest 216. Thank you so much. I'm sure Michi X appreciates all the love and support for the video that we most recently did, Unleash the Beast. In fact, thank you, Coldest 216, for reminding me. I might very well put that video up in just a moment. Greetings, Craig Burns, Guinevere Reed, Alafia, Hotep Wu, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, beloved. Thank you for being so consistent with us. Crystal Lynn Witt, happy Monday, happy Monday, happy Monday. We must share the knowledge and the wisdom to all of our social media. Ashe, I would appreciate that. I don't beg. I just don't. I just don't. And so I don't often think about asking you to please click like, click thumbs down. It really doesn't matter to me. But leave a footprint. Let us know that you were here. You can also share the show in any social media platform where you might feel the will to do so. And thank you for that reminder. I appreciate that. Thank you, Nathan Burns, beloved. Come on in. We welcome you. Please do participate. You can follow the link at the bottom of the screen. I'll also pop it into the chat for you. If you would like to turn on your webcam and be a part of the show, be a co-host with me on the show, you can also visit my blogtalkradio.com. If I can just get my alerts to stop long enough. Okay. Okay, there's the link in the chat where you can join me as a co-host and turn on your webcam if you so will, and you are camera ready today. And here is the link for Blog Talk Radio, the show page, as well as the chat room, which is also live and open at this moment in time. And you can call me at 845-277-9143, 845-277-9143. Greetings, Shamafia, Rageless, happy, lovely, Ashe, beloved to you as well. Thank you so much for being a consistent member and participant of the family. Yes, all is a blessing indeed, Crystal Lynn Witt. Saint C. I want to talk a little bit about Oprah Winfrey today too, if you all don't mind, because I have my own commentary about what I witnessed on yesterday evening. Saint C, thank you so much for being with us. Nina Lloyd, you always so loving and consistent. Thank you so much, beloved. Yes, the Michi X video, Unleash the Beast, was probably one of my most favorite projects that I've worked on in a really long time. Let me see if I can pull that up for you real quick. Oh yeah, I can pull that up. So for those of you who didn't catch the video, before I start trying to give commentary on it, I'm going to share it with you right now. Welcome to Unleash the Beast.
Please, allow me to show you something.
They say I'm crazy, and that might be true. I got this white in my DNA, yet I'm coming for you. It's time we turn the table, strip these motherfuckers on you. I wanna see you hanging from trees. It's time you pay for your dirt and your shit. You created the monster, you created the beast. Now all this savagery you just gonna reap. I'm coming home, daddy, to the plantation, and I'm taking the lives of everybody, including the children, on some Nat Turner. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. I met my girl Harriet at the gate. If you wanna know how she doing, yeah, she's straight. But she had one question: when we gon' get up? All that talking tough, yeah, we don't walk it tough. She got it locked and loaded, got that piece up on her side. She looked me in my eyes and said, "Meet you ready to ride?" Moving forward, you gotta use both eyes. Watch your front and watch your back. Keep your hands up on your gas. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. He sit at the table, but he don't order no bacon. He greet me in those words, assalamu alaikum. Got them glasses on his face and them waves in his head. He go by the name of Detroit Red. He looks me in my eye and says, "You only get one try. Know that your biggest opposition will come from the inside. I know you wanna love them all, but don't even try, because they'll smile up in your face while plotting your demise." Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. We are the children of the ancestors that weren't punk bitches. Time's up.
Have it for those of you who are seeing it now just for the first time. You can also look at it on my the front of my YouTube page. Ooh, stop.
Winnie, Winnie.
Okay, I think I got it stopped now. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your patience on Blog Talk Radio. You'll have to go to my youtube.com/Voodoo Thai, VOODOOTYE, to view it on my YouTube page. Thank you so much, Kim Gladden. It was an excellent collaboration. Me and Meech is like family. It's like family now. We had so many things in common and so much in terms of message and imagery that we wanted to bring to the video. I know at least 5 of you left the room because it wasn't enough, nudity and rump shaking and partying going on. But it's a new day, and we've got to move beyond just entertainment and rump shaking and partying and get back to a state, and particularly within our community, where we're conscious, where we're thinking, where we're creating, where we're making strides and moves for the true liberation and empowerment of our people. If you have not seen enough in the last 4 years, if you have not seen enough in the time of this pandemic, in terms of who really cares, who really gives a damn, who's really looking out for you, there's no clearer time than the crossroads that we stand in right now in this moment in time space. And SU indeed, for indeed this is SU's day, stands at the crossroads. We call him the trickster, but the trick is when we fall into ego, when we fall into selfishness, when we fall into all of those characteristics, that nature that prevents us from connecting with the divine. This video was about power. This video was about life. This video was about recreation and creating. And people are often confused about the mysteries of Beran. And there are many Berans. Samadhi is just one in a family of Berans that exist. And Papa Gede is the day, represents the day, and Beran represents the night. That they are opposites, polar opposites, twins of themselves. But Beran is a little bit more egregious and aggressive than Papa Gede. But the video was about being reborn, being renewed, being rebirthed, being repowered in something that is in our memory. She spoke about Malcolm X. She spoke about Nat Turner. She spoke about Mother Moses, who helped to free the slaves along the underground, Harriet Tubman along the Underground Railroad. So it's about something that's in our genetic gene pool. It's about something that's in our lineage. It's about something that stands up in our ancestors. And the idea of doing ancestral work, those of you who were here during the previous hour saw the Egungun video that I put up with the Babalao from Ogun State, speaking about Egungun and the various Egungun and what they mean and what they represent. And I often share those videos so that you have some demonstration, some representation of how these systems were practiced in their more organic environment. We're often trying to bring something of an indigenous world mindset into a modern, technological, mechanical, industrial, commercialized environment. And so the videos aim to give us a hint of the past, give us a hint of the footprint, give us a documentation of what's authentic and what's real. And I know authentic and real is not popular today. Truth is not popular today. Learning is not popular today. People are angry about truth. People are upset about truth. People in their feelings about truth. People are tweeting about truth. And so our battle is not to enforce truth. Our goal is to demonstrate truth. I'm not going to battle with you about truth. That's why I don't do battle shows. I'm not going to argue about what's truth. I'm experiencing truth and living truth. So I understand we live in a day and a time that's not interested in the truth, that's not interested in the facts. We do a lot of Googling and binging, but we're not doing enough real dedication and research to these traditions, which requires some human contact with elders and practitioners that are already operating within these traditions. And so you got to think about elders. Okay, I showed you a video an hour ago with a 20-something-year-old advanced Babalao. Use your Skype, use your social media outlets for calling and videoing with people all around the world, and take the opportunity to embrace the culture that's operating organically within these traditions. And here lately, I know I keep bringing up COINTELPRO. COINTELPRO. Understand what COINTELPRO is, and humbly to a younger generation that's not familiar, please do your Googling and your binging of COINTELPRO, Co-Intelligence Program, and what that is and how it now might be showing up in your life. They're indeed operatives among us. We know this. We know if we paid any attention to the political warfare of the last 4 years. We know that there are people who are actively involved in directing your attention to the left or to the right, directing your attention away from what's important, what's pertinent, what's true, to something a little less important. And so we know that COINTELPRO is still active, and particularly among this community, because anything that brings us empowerment, anything that brings us economic freedom, anything that brings us any sense of control of our lives and our destiny, it's deemed to be under attack. And from the inside out. So I don't get caught up in the social media battles about truth and fact and fiction, because the reality is that not all of those people are confused. Some of those people are determined to detour you off the road. And so those who are committed to this show and committed to my house and committed to my ministry and are committed to the Voodoo remind me every day, in the email, in the private message, in the DM, to just stick to the facts. They remain with me. Those who have fallen off never had me in mind. And don't get caught up in these Twitter lists, y'all. Please, don't get caught up in these Twitter lists, particularly the ones that have all these A, B, C, D, E, F, G alphabet at the top of their profile, particularly these ones who have a profile that's clearly just political, or clearly just hoodoo, or clearly just root work, and there's no filling out the dynamics of a personality. We got to begin to look at these profiles as a representative of the personalities behind the profile. And some of them are clearly empty, an empty box with a name and a photograph and a few words on the bottom. And the goal is to gain followers. Oh my goodness. The goal is to just gain followers by any means necessary. By any means necessary. So some of them do it by tweeting every 5 minutes, they're tweeting. They got an automizer that's making sure that every 5 minutes they're tweeting. Because who has that kind of time? Who has time to raise kids and do that amount of tweeting? Who has time to work a job but be tweeting every 5 minutes? Nobody who's doing anything real. Nobody who's doing anything out here on the ground in the organic real world. So be careful. And the goal is to amass lists, large lists. And there's a motive. Money, number one. Marketing equals money, number two. Popularity equals money, number three. You know, there's a motivation behind it. But watch how often they like your post. Watch how often they comment on your post. Watch how often they share or reshare your post. And so the goal is to get you to follow them so that you're just one more tick, one more number in their massive following. And whoever that administrator is, whoever the head of that listing group is, like we say in America, follow the money. just follow the money. So be careful about those lists. I had to pull back. Some of y'all already seen my Twitter. I had to pull way back. Things were out of control. I mean, completely out of control. And I have enough binging and dinging and clinging that goes on with my computer all day and all night. I just didn't need the clutter. And a lot of it is just clutter. You know, people are tweeting their feelings, tweeting their emotions, you know, tweeting how they feel at any given moment in time space. And it's designed to pull a certain segment of the demographic in. Some of us are a little more sensitive than others. Some of us can't see crying. Some of us can't see desperation, you know, without some emotional response to it. Just like our dramatic movies, just like your sitcoms, just like your TV commercials that sell you a bunch of stuff that you really don't need. So you all say, oh, I don't own a TV. You don't have to. It's all on the internet now. And it's deeper ingrained now into our lives, into our feelings, and into our emotions than we ever could predict. So be careful about that. I also wanted to not so much go into, you know, a whole dissertation about what I saw on TV last night, but more about some of the topics that were touched on and some of the topics that we know are still very sensitive, and not just in America, because it was important for me to also see as best you can from a program like that, but more importantly from Meghan and Harry's experience, what racism might look like and feel like in the UK. And particularly from somebody that we assumed, and I think Oprah did her best to hit on that, you know, we assumed that you all had a privileged life, had a special life, you know, and I really believe she was being organic and honest in her emotional responses. I really do. So just imagine a woman of Oprah's position, experience, wealth, but still being that shocked in the moment at how racism and white supremacy still shows up in the world. And those of you who are here just for the quick magic, you know, please, I won't be offended. You know, you can find another show, but it's all there. It's all there. This oppression starts from the top and works its way down through economics, works its way down through religion, works its way down through what you believe, what you buy, what you support, and what you are empathetic to, what you are sympathetic to. And it's still startling, shocking to me, you know, that we live in a world where a great degree of people are still not empathetic or sympathetic to the plight of Black people all around the world. Still don't get it still feel like, oh, well, why are they complaining? Why do they need to always bring that up? And here we have an example of a Black woman, a mixed race person of color, okay, in what we assume to be a position of great comfort and privilege and niceties. And her experience was not far off from Princess Diana's experience. But her experience, as we as Black people understand, was a great deal much more egregious than Princess Diana's position. Because we still don't acknowledge, one, that the Black woman always comes to save the day. The Black woman is always pushed out there to really do the work and then be discredited for it, overlooked for it. Well, we're not going to look at what's real. We're going to focus on, well, she's revealing our secret. I've watched the movements in social media from the UK in the last 24 hours as well. Okay. And so some of my UK followers fell off because I tweeted the whole Oprah thing the entire 2 hours. So forgive me. But some of them fell off, And then I wake up this morning to what I'm seeing in the media, what they found problematic about the show, what they choose to complain about the show. And very few people are addressing white supremacy and racism and full and living HD. It was unreal to me in many ways. And I'm not a royal interested person generally. I'm just not. Even back to Princess Diana, until it was like in your face, I didn't pay attention to that. So forgive me, UK. Many of us get caught up in where we live. I'm sure there's a lot going on here in the States that you all don't quite get. And racism, white supremacy, the lives of Black people and people of color is at the top of that list. And so it really brought it together for me that this is indeed a global phenomenon. The footprint of white supremacy, racism, colonization, forced religious beliefs can be found all over the globe, from the highest to what we might consider the lowest, the lowliest of individual. So it was profound for me. I believe it's going to go down in history as one of the most important interviews ever. Move over, Barbara Walters, because Oprah really just took it to a whole nother level. I believe they were completely organic. I don't believe any of the social media chatter, about manipulation, and I did not perceive any of that. I even believe that Oprah, as a good journalist should do, she pushed it a little bit and got them to really open up and reveal some things that maybe they had said, okay, well, we're going to be a little moderate on. And so they took it to the next level. And so I'm grateful. I think it's going to affect many things that we can't even envision right now, how that's going to sort of ripple out through not only America, but through the UK. I expect some kind of pushback, some kind of response to that, because the world is still just not ready to accept the idea that the Black woman is God, and praise Jesus, and that we still, if we don't get honest, get naked, get organic about this subject matter, allow ourselves to feel the emotion, the pain, the trauma that comes with releasing, we got many more generations to come of seeing some really ugly stuff. I watched a news program last night that talked about the greatest terroristic threat to America right now is from white supremacists. And I know, please, I know you were looking for entertainment. There's another channel, okay? But white supremacy and white supremacists. Do you all understand? The last 4 years have really opened a Pandora's box of allowing them to feel more brazen, more free, more out in the open, and indeed willing to be more organized and more dangerous than ever before. And some of us are just concerned about making the rent, or just concerned about getting our children, educated, or are just concerned about entertainment. And so there's got to be room for the truth tellers. There's got to be room for the more conscious elites. Right now, it's the elites in our community. It's not a grassroots fire as of yet in our community, the way it once was, and indeed can be before. I remember during the 70s, there was a thirst for self-knowledge, self-awareness, which provided the fertile ground for movies like Roots, for great achievements in Black arts and Black cinema and Black book writing. And many book writers came out of that. Many great poets, Nia Giovanni, came out of that. Great performers, Gil Scott Heron, came out of that. And this all led to the hip hop, the rap that we understand and that we listen to and that we embrace today. But there's a whole generation who's not being educated on the root, on the source, or on the meat. I'm not concerned about that generation in the middle that don't care about the truth. Let them do their thing. And when they bump their head, break their foot, smash up their car, risk life and limb, risk playing with the police, risk playing with the system, they always somehow find a way back if they survive. If they survive, they always somehow find a way back. So sometimes you got to let people, get off the train and take their detour. That don't mean you got to get off the train. I'm certainly not about to get off the train. But you got to let others sort of take that entertainment, dramatic detour. I equate it to a concept in recovery that sometimes people have to reach a bottom. Sometimes people have to bump their head, stub their foot a few times, and if they survive, they find their way back. So be consistent, be whole. Don't stray off the path if you don't have to. It's a waste of time. Our mathematicians will tell you the shortest distance between any 2 points is a straight line. So if we can't get real about race and racism and white supremacy and how it shows up at every level, including hoodoo, root work, conjure, any ideas about black magic and witches, and it's off the rails. It's off the rails. And with anything that's fashionable, with anything that's trending, it has to reach a breaking point. Some of y'all are happy we're not still wearing bell bottoms today from the 70s today. So things will continue to evolve. Things will continue to move on to the next level. Just don't get caught up in the distraction of it all. And it's overwhelming right now. Another issue is the duplication of my profile. Understand, I have one Twitter, The Divine Prince. I have one Instagram, Divine Prince Ty Mecca. Divine Prince Ty Mecca. Some of y'all are not even paying attention to how these profiles are being spelled. Okay, there's no necessary need for a dash or a period in between the IV or the NE. And that's how they're setting up these foolish, fraudulent profiles. And many of this audience, y'all be on it. Y'all be on it. No sooner than it's spotted, than it's seen, than it's found somewhere, somebody screenshots it to me. Typically, they've already first restricted, then reported for impersonating, and then block. Don't just block, because that limits, the contact between you and that person. But it also prevents, to some degree, others from being able to see that profile and be sure that it's actually being taken down. So restrict, report for impersonating, and then block. But it's happening in all of Mark Zuckerberg's platforms, Facebook and Instagram. And why? Well, I'm not going to go into that, but yeah. So it's happening in Facebook. It's happening in Instagram. I only have one profile in Instagram. I only have one profile in Facebook. Now I have other pages in Facebook. And at this point, I haven't had a whole lot of problem there, except for that one fake, fraudulent Hoodoo Central group that's being administered out of Dubai or somewhere in the Middle East. And it's, again, just a bunch of foolishness, people from all over the world appropriating, bastardizing, pretending to be representatives of Hoodoo, root work, conjure, things that are rooted in our tradition, things that are rooted in our culture. We can't talk about these traditions without looking at slavery, without looking at the Middle Passage. They wouldn't be here without. They wouldn't be here without. Please forgive me. I can get to talking. I get distracted. Okay, girlfriend. Whatever. Whatever. You in the wrong room. Okay. But we handle demons well in this room. So do your thing. Do your thing. We cannot discuss these traditions at all without looking at slavery, without looking at enslavement, without looking at the ethnic groups, the family, the people behind these traditions. The Shamba people, they are located in northern Nigeria and Cameroon. They are an African ethnic group found in the Gongola state of East Central Nigeria and neighboring parts of North Cameroon. They speak two distinctly related languages, the Shamba-Leko of the Leko Nimbari languages and the Shamba-Daka of the Dacoid languages, both of which are Niger-Congo languages. They were victims of the Fulani's jihadi slavery in the 18th and 19th century. Things went really bad for them that they migrated into the mountains to form guerrilla groups attacking Fulani slave merchants. The Wolof people, they are found in Senegal and some parts of Mali. Their origin is widely debated. Some say they come from Kemet, from ancient Egypt, from Meroe, from the east. But mainstream knowledge has it that they originated from the north and later migrated down south. They founded their own empire by warring they found their own empire, but warring, fighting among themselves made them split, and this made them vulnerable to slave hunters. Most Wolofs are Muslim. They had a violent jihad past that further exposed them to slavery, either as slave merchants or as victims. The Abron people, they inhabited the border of Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, and Burkina Faso. They were at the center of the popular Gold Coast. Many of them were taken into slavery and given a specific name in Jamaica called the Kokoromantis, the Abron people. The next group is the Fulani people. Fulanis are one of the largest ethnic groups in West Africa, and they are a nomadic tribe or group of people in nature and are present in East and West Africa. They can be found in Senegal and all the way to Central African Republic. Other places they inhabit include Niger, Mali, Nigeria, Guinea, and Cameroon. Their origin is highly debated. but their origin has been traced to North Africa. They are somehow the original people in North Africa due to their paintings in Niger, which are dated to 6000 BC in North Africa. In fact, their history is rich and full, and the Fulanis embraced Islam very early. They have many prominent jihadist warriors who swept across Africa. Example is Usman Danfodio, ironically as prominent as their sheikhs and jihadis in slave trades. Fulanis were also victims of slavery themselves. It was recorded that they were hugely enslaved. Some of the most popular slaves taken to the New World are Fulanis. An example is Omar ibn Said, Abdul Rahman, and Diallo. Most were taken to America specifically, as opposed to passing through the Middle Passage and starting in South America. The next group is the Mende people. Mende are collections of African tribes speaking the language Mende. There are so many tribes in Africa speaking Mende, therefore it's illogical to call Mende a single tribe. But the prominent of all the Mendinkes, or the Mandinka built one of the largest empires in West Africa. They raided the coastline of West Africa and mingled with coastline people. Even some Fulanis have Mandinka ancestry. The origin of the Mandinka is largely the Sahara. Archaeology discovered Mandinka to be the first builder of stone settlement civilization in West Africa. The Mende culture was the most prominent in West Africa from 11 BC to 1600 BC. The Fan people, they are the largest ethnic group in Benin Republic. They are also found in southwest Nigeria. They are hybrid of other African tribes. Oral history has it that they were formed from intermarriage of the Aja and the Yoruba, creating a new ethnic group called Fan. The Fan people created a very popular kingdom known as Dahomey, and are well known for their female warriors. In fact, Black Panther movies were inspired by the Dahomey female warriors, uh, often colonialized as Amazonian warriors. They were victims and victimized during the slave trade. They are the most popular in Trinidad and Tobago, Haiti. Due to their Yoruba ancestry, they are renowned for their Black Juju practice in America. Their Black magic origin is traced to the Yoruba. Voodoo was significant during the War of Freedom from slavery. The next major group is the Bakongo people. Bakongo people are Bantu people living along the coastal region of Central African Republic. They live primarily in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Republic of Congo, and Angola. Similar to the Mendinke, they built one of the largest empires in Central Africa. They are one of the African ethnic groups that converted to Christianity at the early stage of slavery, and can be said to be among the first to have had an encounter with Portuguese trade merchants. Most Bakongo slaves were taken to Southern America or South America. The next major group of people would be the Igbo. Thank you for that. Thank y'all. I knew y'all would handle it. The next major group of people would be the Igbo. Igbos are native to South Central and Southern Eastern part of Nigeria. Igbos are one of the largest ethnic groups in Africa. Even though their origin is widely debated, their presence has been recorded thousands of years. Igbos were caught up in the slave trade as a result of migration of Arrow Confederacy. The Arrows migrated to Igbo land due to high demand for slaves. The Arrows capture and hunt Igbos and sell them to the Europeans. Igbo sold to Europeans accounted for 13% of slaves mined from Africa. The next group is your most favored and most popularized and most appropriated and most bastardized and most offended group, and that would be the Yoruba people. They are an African tribe of north, central, and southwestern Nigeria, as well as southern and central Benin Republic. Yorubas and Fulani are the largest ethnic groups in Africa. It is hard to tell which group is really bigger, the Fulanis or the Yoruba. They were mainly sold in North and South America. Currently, they are one of the most recognized African cultures, not just in America alone, but in the UK and in the Caribbean. Yoruba are found not to lose their culture wherever they go. They created shrines and worship centers in Jamaica, Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic, St. Louis, Brazil, Trinidad, and Tobago. And today, the Yoruba culture is fast becoming a religion, even among non-Yorubas in America. The Yoruba along Benin Edo culture have been dated by archaeology as one of the oldest civilizations in America, dated as far back as 11 BC, Nimrod era. And I've said on many shows, another reason, not just that the Yoruba were primarily taken to Central and South America, but that co-relationship, for lack of better words, between the Catholic Church and the slave owners to make sure that they were converting to Catholicism, but allowed them in their off time and their downtime to maintain their connection to the root of their ethnic groups. And indeed, there were other ethnic groups in Brazil, in Argentina, in Jamaica, in Trinidad, than just the Yoruba. But the Yoruba's dominant cultural force is their memory and their degree of education and commitment to study. For those who don't know, the Yoruba are the most educated ethnic group in America. In the Western world, some might say, the Yoruba, they hold the greatest degrees, the highest level of degrees. And so there's something about that Yoruba DNA that allows them to hold on to the culture, the science behind the culture, the practice and tradition, and carry that now into new worlds. But we know it's also now being carried into new worlds by way of the internet. And a lot of what we're seeing on the internet is an appropriation, it's a bastardization, it's a Botanica store demonstration of. And the goal of the Botanicas are to sell products, to sell stuff. 99.9% of Botanica owners have no study, no initiation, no experience, no practice in any of these traditions. And in many cases, don't even really care. Their goal is to sell stuff. We've created this pop cultural practice of Orisha around botanicas, technology, social media, video, and now people are burning their candles and mixing oils and doing all kind of witchery that has nothing to do with real organic Yoruba practice at all. And I know you don't like it. You don't have to like it. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop telling the truth, but you don't have to like it. Okay? You don't have to like it. You don't have to try it. You don't have to understand it. Keep doing what you do. Keep bumping your head. Keep stumbling and stubbing your toe. And when you get ready to seek some kind of eldership, somebody will be there for you. A greeting, Chef Bougie, beloved, and Iba, Orisha, Mojuba, Orisha, greetings. Greetings. I appreciate you all. Neophyte, Bokur, peace and blessings, beloved. Come on in. Thank you, Frida Nunn. You know, I'm trying to be creative. You know, you can't just tell the truth directly out loud to some people. They just, it's going to go through one ear out the other. They just not going to hear it. And I understand that I have many demographics in this audience. I got people in West Africa who live and practice these traditions in this audience. I got people here in the Americas, North and South America, Central America, who practice these traditions. And so they don't need to hear the, you know, the basics and the elementals. But I also have people who are here who have no exposure to this tradition, who honestly want to know the truth about this tradition, who are honest in where they are in the process of exposure to this tradition. So I got to be able to reach them too. But then there's that arrogant population that exists out there right now, who thinks they know it, thinks they're a witch, thinks they're doing some kind of magic, and their lives is a mess. And we know their lives is a mess because y'all keep tweeting it. Y'all keep putting it on Facebook. Y'all keep posting it in Instagram. So we know your lives is a mess. We ain't got to be there. So I gotta sometimes find a way, free to none, beloved, to sort of, you know, lay it out there. And there are those who would still otherwise appropriate, bastardize. Okay, their fate is in the hands of Byron Samdi and the gods. But to those who might have an opportunity to hear, might have an opportunity to go back in the archive. Okay, you bored, you ain't got nothing else to do that day. And you might just decide to hear me in that moment. The clouds might part. I got to be consistent to the truth. And so we know that without these ethnic groups, there would be no hoodoo in the Americas. There would be no voodoo in the Americas. Nobody right now would be talking about root working and conjure and black magic or any of the such. And the last group that was forcibly brought here into the slave trade was the Mbandu people. They are the main tribe in Angola today. There are multiple stories surrounding their origin, but the most popular of all is that a rumor of people originating from multiple chieftains from across Africa. In short, they are hybrids of different ethnic groups in Africa. They are mostly taken to Brazil during the transatlantic slave trade. They were the most popular and lucrative slave market for the Portuguese. The majority of the Mbandu warrior lords were shipbuilders and architects. They built large ships used for transporting their own people to Brazil. That is why they are the largest Black ethnic group in Brazil still to this day. Portuguese had it easy with them because it was a cheaper transporting Mbandu slaves. Mbandu chiefs built great ships, which really helped the Portuguese slave merchants. And that might also speak to why they didn't bring no Mbandu people to North America. They certainly didn't want us building ships and creating avenues of freedom and liberation for ourselves. So yes, Freedom, I appreciate your comment. We get confused about what this is, especially if you're paying attention to social media. It's real easy to get confused about this, or what this is. It's designed for you to be confused about what this is. It's designed for you to be taken off the side of the road. It's designed to get you to fall into witchcraft and nonsense that's not ethno-cultural specific to our people and our traditions. It's designed that way. So it's no surprise that many are following, you know, like lemmings to the edge of the cliff, following that pathway. But those who seek truth are willing to do the work, are willing to do the work. Greetings, beloved Neophyte Bokur. Come on in. Are you with me?
Greetings. I'm here. I'm just was so busy and didn't realize it that I was missing the show. And this is an important topic, especially when it comes to understanding the science behind the quote unquote craft. All right. Because you're spilling a lot of knowledge right now that I literally just got into an argument with one of my coworkers. There was another driver, and we were talking about a few things, and he was telling me about how black people sold black people into slavery, and I'm like, bruh, you have a very small understanding. And I was trying to be nice about it. You have a very limited understanding of what actually transpired. It wasn't a matter of just black people selling black people into slavery. There are politics involved. There is culture involved. There is religion involved. There is trade and commerce involved. And there's a lot of crooked and shady people underneath that. A lot of pirating and a lot of thievery going on, especially with the Catholic Church of Portugal and Spain. I mean, the whole story of Queen Nzinga, the Queen of Angola, in the 1700s, or not the 1700s, the 1500s, the 17th century. Just her queenship or kingdom, because technically she was the ruler, would explain that whole story, that whole scenario. And it would explain how a lot of black people made it into California before Columbus. But that's, just my personal take on it. I'm going to continue listening to what you were saying while I get myself ready so I can be on camera.
Thank you. And greetings, Kiona, but give me a moment. Beloved, you're not listening to me. This ain't craft. This ain't craft. Craft is a Eurocentric Western idea and notion. This ain't craft. This is an ethno-cultural way of living, way of being. That's why I went into the ethnic groups. And so our next point of study might be, how does God or religion or spirituality manifest among the Igbo people, among the Ewe people, among the Yoruba people? And so then when you go into those documents, you ain't gonna find the word craft at all. You're not gonna find the words witchcraft at all, unless it's being used in a negative, derogatory manner.
That's why I said it in quotes, because it's not a word that would have been in existence for those people.
Neophyte, Bakur, beloved.
Yeah,
I'm talking to somebody in the chat right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It wasn't specific to you, and I'm trying to be diplomatic about it. You're not going to find that. Another misconception is the white man created the evil connotations that we associate with witchcraft. It was an attempt to demonize our practice, our tradition. So they called what we did not just voodoo, not just hoodoo, but witchcraft. So even in indigenous cultures, the Maya, the Aztec, the Incan, the Olmec, the Igbo, the Hausa, the Yoruba, witches were not a good thing, ever. And witches denote ego, denote doing things for your own personal gain without a concept of village. Because these traditions, these ethnic groups come out of a village mindset that many Westerners don't have today. Many of you took neighbor out of the hood. And so you just say hood. So you remove the neighbor. We've removed community. We got the gated community, but then you build huge houses with huge fences. You got to have your own pool, your own golf course, your own, And so we've removed village, not just in a literal sense, but in a figurative sense from our society. So it's a catchphrase. Came along, I don't know, during the Clinton era. It takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to support humanity. It takes a village to be human in the indigenous world. Without a village, you weren't considered human. And so sometimes they sent their criminals and their offenders out into the wilderness, and they would rather you count your blessings with the animals, because they knew you wouldn't survive out there very long without other humans. That was their penal system for the murders back in the indigenous world. So anytime we insert craft, you're talking something that's Eurocentric. You're talking something that's Western, i.e., artificial, additives, preservatives, fake color, just like your food, other false ingredients. And so we've been tricked into accepting fake food, fake news, fake clothing. We've been tricked into a lot of fakery in the last 50 years. And so we can't bring it into spirituality and religion. We just can't. And I know it's no individual person's fault, because it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Everybody on Instagram is a hoodoo practitioner. Everybody on Instagram is a root worker and a hairstylist and builds cars on the weekend and is an expert at health and wellness and bodybuilding. I mean, it's just ridiculous. We live in a time where, oh, I just figured it out. I came out of a time where labels were important. Was it Gucci? Was it Fendi? Labels. And then we moved into a time when you left the labels on your clothes. Remember that, Neophyte Bill Cord? And you didn't remove the label from your hat. Okay?
I'm trying not to relive it.
Okay, so now we live in a time where you the label. You the label. You tattooing it on your body. You wearing it on your sleeve. You have become the label. And so it's not about what's authentic. It's about what it looks like, what it appears to be, what is projecting to show up. And if you're not looking beneath the surface with any depth, oh my goodness. I'm with y'all. I'm just having a momentary, oh my goodness. Where are we headed to? Oh my goodness. We've got to do better. We've got to do better. I said I was gonna come to Keona next. Greetings, Keona, beloved. How you doing?
Greetings. I am great. How's everyone?
All is a blessing, beloved. Glad to have your shining face with us again. I know
Yes,
you've
absolutely.
been building businesses and stuff, and that's a wonderful thing.
Yes. So I really appreciate this content, per always. I'm at home, so I'm taking my shoes off and I don't have to wear the girdle at your house. I can go ahead and let the stomach and take my
Yeah.
bra off. I'm at home. So what I love about this is that you debunk the Orisha romance, because our ancestors were forced to practice our culture and religion behind Catholic images. And so when someone speaks of mastery and they just got into it for 6 months or for 3 years, it's foolishness. It's foolishness. And then they want to mix the left-hand path, and which is self mastery. Then they want to go to witchcraft, and they want to come back to the ATR, and they want to put it all into a melting pot, and then they want to say this is what it is. When you're dealing with self mastery, you are your own God. So you can't come over to ATR and want to deal with deities and archetypes and your spirit guides and your ancestors and then mix it with the left hand path. Because when you're dealing with the left hand path, you're basically saying that you're all of that. So pick one. Don't be all over the place because you don't know what you're channeling. And then you're dealing with depression and you're thinking it's coming from you, but you've channeled in some jinn that's using you, that's wrecking shop. You don't have no money. You ain't covering no ground, and you're for sure aren't changing any lives, and you're not helping humanity. And yet, what they're trying to do now is, and where the white supremacists and racists have now come out, they're now trying to put them back inside the shed. You know, you got that crazy relative that stay in the back of the house when company comes over. That's what they're trying to do now with this new administration that we have. So we got to get beyond all this fake stuff. Pick a side. If you're gonna deal with the witchcraft, deal with that. If you're gonna deal with ATR, deal with it, and deal with it in the order in which it's supposed to be done in. And that's just my 2 cents.
I absolutely agree. And then they spent a whole afternoon, posting they depression and they sadness and they darkness. And that's what I mentioned earlier, that we know your life a mess because you keep posting it. So we know their life be a hot mess. But that Jen stands out when you try and shine light. And see, that's one of the ways you test the spirit. You share life, you share light, you share happiness, you share joy. And if they resist that, like a vampire resisting the sunlight, you're dealing with the Jinn. And it's deeper than just, chemical, hormonal, psychological, psychiatric. It's deeper than that. And we've got many a Jinn. Some of you are willing to accept that we might have aliens among us, but you ain't willing to accept that we might have demons and jinn walking among us. You're willing to accept that we got reptilians walking among us, but you're not willing to accept the presence and the reality of jinn and how they work in nature. And voodoo is nature. Valerie Taylor asks, how do you find true teachers when you don't live in areas where people make themselves known? Okay, great. I'm gonna answer that, but in 2 ways. Because, okay, you want to find a real living, breathing mentor, teacher, absolutely, and that's the best case scenario. But also, in the day of Zoom and Skype and social distancing, we also have a lot of time on our hands to use the very technologies that we have available to us to reach out to a greater segment of our culture. And that's where the whole COINTEL thing kicks in. We've been taught fear, insecurity. Many of you really don't know how to navigate the internet safely, without clicking on the wrong link, without exposing your computer to a virus, and so that has limited, even on your computer, it has limited your ability to travel out into your virtual community, into spaces that are otherwise safe to do so, just by a lack of knowledge. There's absolute ways to verify who you're talking to, who you're interacting with on the internet. You just got to be willing to ask some questions and keep your third eye open, and make sure your security at every level is in place. Your VPNs and all that stuff is in place. But I immediately out the gate ask questions. If you're seeking, Valerie, a dentist, an eye doctor, uterine care specialist, you're going to ask questions. We're not just going to assume what the sign says. We're not just going to assume what's on the business card. We're not going to just assume what's in the first couple of lines of an ad in the yellow pages. Do they even still have yellow pages? You're going to do some kind of research, some kind of, study and investigation. Does this person have a footprint? And see, this is an unpopular message. Whether it be a healer, psychic reader, tarot reader, Babalawo, Ianifa, ask them for their address. Google that. What's the phone number? Bing search that. What's the footprint? Check, okay, when you do your search, it's also a date attached to that. When was it posted? When was it last posted? How long has it, or her, or him, or the entity been around? Many of these names that's popular right now already then fell off the list because they have no footprint. Many of them have no footprint beyond 6 months claiming to be a reader. What were they doing 5 years ago? Check that. And a lot of these social media sites, not only do they store your information, but it's very simple to search those old posts and have them show up. They actually have applications that do that. And, you know, okay, you was doing something completely different 5 years ago, you know, now you a reader all of a sudden. And check the age. Let's be organic and authentic and honest about the age. Age matters. Age matters. And so unless you are, as the gentleman that I demonstrated during the 11 o'clock hour in the Egungun video, unless you are born in the culture, born in Nigeria, born in Brazil, born in Cuba, because ain't nobody born in the culture, particularly in America. We might have one generation who might be born into the culture, particularly Ifa, Orisha, you know, among the Gullah Geechee or Oyotunji village, you know, and then scattered out through America, you have, you know, grandparents and then parents who might have now first or maybe even second generation, people who have been born into a family and environment that live Yoruba culture 24 hours a day. It's a small group of number. So as an American or someone living in the UK, I'm not quite sure where you might live, Valerie. We got to be willing to virtually seek out practitioners, elders in other parts of the world who have a documented footprint, A WhatsApp number is not a documented footprint. I'm sorry. TikTok is not a documented footprint when we're talking about authenticity in these traditions. So, and be willing to be taught, be willing to be inspired, be willing to be open. It's kind of cliche, you know, when the student comes, the mentor shows up, you know, and that's a euphemism, but often it's right in our face, but we're looking for smoke and clouds and lightning to come out and manifest or something. I don't know, but once we check the footprint, what kind of footprint, search the address, search the name, search the location. A lot of these people ain't got no address, ain't got no footprint, ain't got no history, don't have no background, you know, and it doesn't matter that they have 50,000 followers. It doesn't matter that they have 100,000 followers, you know. More magic and trickery and manipulation of the algorithms. If you have time, anyone can amass a large following of followers. But to what end? For what purpose? For what motivation? So whether it's on the ground, Valerie, or virtually, you got to do your homework on these people. You got to do your homework on these people. And far be it from me to say, I have documentaries. I've been on TV shows. I've done movies. I've done TV commercials. But most important to me, I've done documentaries. Documentaries, truth-based, factional-based, archaeologists, genealogists, anthropologists, documentaries. These are the overnight sensation wannabe practitioners. Can't say that. And that's why they hate me so much. That's why they hate me so much. But I've had to work hard. I've had to sacrifice. I've had to give up entertainment, socializing, doing some things that you all take for granted to gain what little position I might even have today, what little representation. And I have so much more to come. I hope y'all saw the end of MeetGX video. It's definitely more to come. To be continued, there's more to come. Doing the work is indeed the emphasis that any authentic practitioner need to prioritize among the community. I've never been taught this anywhere else, and it should not be the case. Yeah, it shouldn't be. But again, and I'm not saying that this is the case with you, Kayla, but with anybody, and particularly of a particular age and demographic, is only, Hotep Wu, beloved, is only getting their information from social media. I can't lie, then you're just clueless. Then you're just clueless. It's the equivalent of watching a bunch of TV commercials, infomercials on any high subject, chemistry, law, medicine, mathematics, and thinking that that's enough for you to have a good understanding and general range of information about what's happening. And even in the search engines, even in the various sites where people can post blogs, the results that are showing up in the search engines, unless you have very complex filters, you're getting what's most popular, what's most looked for, what's most often typed in to the search, and you're not getting to the meat of any of the ethnic groups that I just named. You will be hard pressed right now to put voodoo in the search engine or root work and conjure in the search engine and find any information related to these ethnic groups come up. Because no one's doing that. That's not pop culture. No one's doing that every day. So you try putting Mbundu, M like Mary, B like boy, UNDU into your search, and then add some words after that. I mean, I know I got some master researchers, Orisha, I got some master researchers in the room. They understand that language is everything. Wording is everything. And your order of words matter. It matter. So you can't put in what's common, what's popular, slang language, and expect to get real in-depth information about any person, place, or thing that you're doing the research on. You got to be a little bit more like an author. You got like a poet, like a rapper. You got to be a little bit more flexible in your range and knowledge of words and those word meanings in order to get, for my search engine experts out there, for you to get a much more thorough and in-depth response. And for my search engine experts out there, if you are doing what I just described, then you understand what getting an education is. It's like university, because you're going to get to a point where all you're going to get is PDFs, books, dissertations, documents, notes made by anthropologists, archaeologists, ethnographers, ancestral researchers. And it's going to be like taking one of my classes. It's going to be like university. If you're going to really learn something, study something, get to the meat of something. Please forgive me, Blog Talk Radio. I did have a caller on hold. I'm not quite sure who that was, but the phone lines are open at 845-277-9143 for about 30 more minutes if you don't have access to your webcam. Of course, Kiona and Neophyte Bokur, y'all can just come on in at your leisure. Go ahead, Neophyte.
Yeah, I had some strange experience when I first really started digging in. I mean, just trying to get myself out of these rabbit holes. I noticed that exact point. Phraseology is key. phraseology and how you word your questions matters. And I didn't think too much of it at first, but you get different results with not just the words that you use, but in which order are those words in. My library on my phone, my PDF files takes up I don't know, maybe about, I'm thinking 2 gigabytes of data on my phone. That's a lot of space. I mean, that's a lot, and it's all PDF files. I mean, it's all books, downloaded books from the kinetic science, mainly. All right, because I went to school for kinesiology, right? And the kinesiology is where I started finding the similarities in not only understanding your body, but the chemicals that are produced by your body and what activates them or what cancels them out. What does this and what does that? It's all there, but it really matters on how you phrase the question, how you phrase it, which order you put your words in when you're asking certain questions. You won't get the same results when you learn how to switch up how you're asking the question. I mean, greatest example, Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great tried to ask what our ancestors or our teachers, our ancient teachers, certain questions. They sent them off. He came back and conquered the place, but they sent him off. So yes, phraseology is very, very key.
It's almost like, you know, you can't really research something that you don't know something about, you know. And unfortunately, I guess to some degree, that's a truth. But even if you don't know, you got to at least know some forming and founding words just to really start your search. To use words like hoodoo or voodoo, you know, or conjure, or craft in the search engine, you're only going to get a regurgitation of more of what you really don't want, more of what's being popularized, more of what is going around, you know, what's in the latest, you know, book. And there are not many book authors that write about this subject that have a real root connection to the traditions, the practice, or the history. And even in doing so, they do a great deal of research, of looking at documents, of looking at previous publications, of looking at previous documentation about the subject before they even begin to formulate their idea, you know, fully in terms of how they're going to present their book. And so that's why you find the bibliography in the back. I often, when I get a new book or find a new book online, I often look at the back of the book first, and sometimes the last few pages of the back of the book first, the ones after the story is done, you know, and then the first few pages of the book before you really get into what, you know, what's happening. It'll often tell you the motivation. It'll often tell you who's doing it, why they're doing it, where they from, you know, what are they qualifications about writing any particular topic. So people are quick to tell you it's, you know, imaginative, it's their perception of, it's their idea of, you know, it's their understanding of. But not many, unless you're really pulling from the culture, are you going to get authors who are practicing, operating in these traditions. And then there's often the language barrier. You know, the author might be writing in Yoruba or in Spanish. There's a lot more available, unfortunately, still in Spanish than in English as it relates to Orisha. So even those of you with the Orisha romance, you ain't getting it. You're getting less than 30% of any amount of meat about what Orisha is. The Cubans and the Latin community have written a wealth of documents about Odus, about Patakis, you know, about the foundational liturgies that hold Orisha together. And even somebody with my degree of experience, I often can't locate it in English at all. And so I have to get the Spanish or get the Yoruba and then have it translated into a language, and then translate it into a language that my godchildren are going to understand. So just in the last 24 hours, for those of you who already are with me, I had to rewrite Eguns. I had to redo that document because it had too many typos in it. It had too many inconsistencies between the English, the Spanish, the Yoruba. And so I've made it, I believe, much easier to sort of grasp and to comprehend. So for my ancestral working divination clients to come, it's all is a blessing. Free to None. You can find it on my Voodoo Thai YouTube page. So it's youtube.com/Voodoo Thai, VOODOOTYE. And there you can find, if we're talking about the music video, if we're talking about the Egun video, give me a moment. I'm gonna have to pull it. I'm gonna have to pull it out of my my history. I really think the caller that was waiting on Blog Talk Radio was that same idiot who tried to disrupt the chat. And so I did make them wait a little bit. But if it's somebody who's in the chat now who honestly had a question, comment, or request, you can call me at 845-277-9143. The name of the video for Egungun is, in fact, let me see if I can put that in. It's called What is Egungun? A Story of Egungun Pa'aka. Give me a second here, y'all. What is Egungun? So I'm not sure which video you were referencing, Free to None. So I hopefully I covered everything. Yeah, okay, I just put that in the chat. Greeting, Rocks. We appreciate you, beloved. Thank you so much for being with me. And I'm so honored by anyone who's here because of Michi X. I realize that some of you found me because of Michi X. And I did participate in one of her most recent podcasts a few days ago and invited many of you to come on over. So I also appreciate you for being with me, and of course, Michi X for the opportunity. Yeah, how you ask the question, divine self-healing is everything. And we have to be willing to be honest enough with ourselves, human enough with ourselves to know we don't know everything. It might be more to this than I understand or have a you know, have a connection to in the moment. And then allow that to sort of redevelop how we use the search engine, how we ask questions. And as I suggested, particularly if we're talking about voodoo, Akan, Airway, Igbo, you've really got to look at lineages, family, ethnic groups to really understand where these practices and traditions come from and how they show up now in the new world. Thank you so much, Jennifer Anderson. I appreciate you. I do. And y'all have about 25 minutes to come on in on screen or on the phone with your questions, comments, or requests. Greetings, JP Tarot. JP Tarot is party to the foolishness that I spoke about earlier. People basically using our images and creating fake profiles. One of the problems I ran into is that the fake profile had my website on it and information, had several of my pictures on it, but then it had JP Tarot's face on it. So, you know, when you go to report that for impersonating, the algorithm wouldn't allow me to report it for impersonating. I had to do it several times before things kicked in. I think it was also helpful that so many followers and friends reported the page. And I think that also helped to sort of get those profiles taken down a lot quicker. Thank you, Kona. I appreciate you, beloved. Thank you so much. Greetings, Jody Netta, and welcome to the show, beloved. I appreciate you all for being here. I appreciate you all for supporting me, and Michi X for that collaboration. And there will be indeed more to come. Just know it's coming. It's my tagline. Just know it's coming. And I want to always acknowledge, you know, the international audience that listens in and participates often in the show, from all over the northern regions, most obviously, but I'm always just amazed at the Asian regions and the South American regions and the African regions and regions where we just assume, you know, there might just be a language barrier. I'm just always grateful that they listen in. And I'm particularly touched by Ghana and Cameroon and the Congo, Niger and Ethiopia and Egypt and places of that, Kenya, where often the root of these traditions were given birth to. I'm always grateful when you are listening and participating in the show. There's a great deal of time difference, you know, throughout the world. I, of all people, understand that. And so, you know, when we're woke, there are many people who are sleeping. When, you know, when they're sleeping, we're up and about. And so everyone doesn't hear and is not always able to participate as actively in the system. The Igbo spiritual system is Afa. The Igbo spiritual system is Afa. Thank you, Kona. Well, all is a blessing. We know each other now virtually. Me and Michi speak to very different demographics, and we understand and we embrace that. Michi might have a slightly younger demographic than me. A lot of my listeners are in their late 40s or older often. I do have young people here and who listen and participate, but that's just my particular demographic based on who listens to my show. Michi also tends to dwell more in revolutionary political conversation. We tend to deal primarily with spirituality and religion, sometimes politics, sometimes everyday life, but my show tends to be more spirituality and religion. So with the popular culture that we see happening right now, people tend to be more driven towards what's entertaining, what's shocking, what's controversial, and you know, so we play very differently to different demographics. It's a blessing in bringing those two demographics together. I think it's also opened up the awareness to some of my audience that I'm a whole lot more than what you just see on this show. And I don't spend a whole lot of time in my politic and sort of my revolutionary, kind of nationalistic mindset, but it's there. And those who know me off air know that I tend to get into that and spend a great deal more time in that arena on the ground. So I'm concerned about what's going on in politics. I'm concerned about who's running for office. I'm concerned about who's voting or not voting. I'm concerned about people having access to housing and clean and healthy water and food. I just don't do that kind of show. And so I don't spend a whole lot of time talking about that in this particular audience. Sometimes I'm invited to do other podcasts, and that gives me an opportunity to speak more, to those other topics. So Michi X audience also I think is sort of new to ATR, traditional African-based religious systems, and many of what is swirling around, other than the hoodoo and conjure and witchcraft and foolishness that you often see in social media. So again, I'm grateful for that opportunity, to bring a different demographic to the meeting, to possibly bring some elders together with some younger people, new friends, together. And I look forward to the projects that you all are going to see coming out in the future. Yeah, it's very scary on Instagram. Another part of the con that I didn't speak to is, many of you have had the sort of the babalao showing up in your DM. And I explained that before. They understand that you all are, if you comment, like, follow, participate, on any of my platforms, they already assume you to be of a particular demographic. And so they go down your entire friends list on Instagram and add every person they can. That's why it's critical to block these people as soon as possible, so they don't have access to your friends list. They follow everyone on your friends list. And listen, even if you have a private profile, your friends list is not locked. Your friends list is wide open. So it doesn't matter if you got a private account. They go down your entire friends list and then spam everyone on the list. Either a direct spam, hi, or some link, or spam by way of, offering services or creating a friend connect, adding those friends, and then ultimately selling them. Another trick to that is they come out with a completely generic profile with little to no information on it, because they know that we're now on to them and are blocking and are spamming them. So they create a generic profile and then amass 5,000 followers, then they follow 5,000 people, but they only have 14 followers. They only have 12 followers. And then at some point, they switch the picture, change the name to profile, and now it's a reader profile and a tarot worker profile. Another trick is, because many of you guys, are weaker than you admit to publicly, is the porn star profile. I get at least 4 of those a day. And it's a very porn star looking profile, usually with 0 followers. They're not following anybody. They have no post, but then they create a group message and they hit you up in the DM, and it's 10 other random people in the group message, assumed to be 10 other random people. Again, it could be those generic profiles, and then all of them copy and paste your entire friends list, and then all your friends get it. So you all got to be careful about, responding to these requests, not doing any kind of homework on these requests. I don't add anybody who I don't look at. I'm serious. I don't add anybody. I don't care if it's just a random profile. I need to look at your profile. How many pictures, how many followers, how many friends, What do it look like it's going on? Because a lot of these profiles are selling product now. Whole page full of sunglasses. Whole page full of, unless you Zakia here in New Orleans who designed her own brand of tennis shoe, you ain't got no business with a whole page of gym shoes and you're not a gym shoe salesman. So listen, I hate to say it, but sometimes I hate to tell the truth. And the truth is, this wouldn't be happening without the audience. This wouldn't be happening if it wasn't successful to the audience. They wouldn't be creating all these fake profiles if you all weren't so easy to follow them. I've caught some of my followers following the fake profile. And I asked, why are you following the fake profile? Oh, well, I didn't know. What was not to know? I've been saying I only got one Instagram for at least 5 years, because this ain't the first time this has happened. And then when I do post it, and then a week later, you come back with, oh, I didn't know. You become suspect to me, bro. You become suspect to me. And so, yeah, I did a little cleaning, and listen, I'm not offended. Some of y'all done jumped ship since I cleaned my Twitter. Some of y'all done jumped ship while I'm still processing every person that I'm following on Instagram. But you didn't like anything anyway. You didn't reshare anything anyway. You didn't support anything anyway. And the same thing in Twitter. During this political season, from everywhere from here to the UK, people were amassing followers, gaining as many followers as they can to make some sort of political point. And now that, that has either passed or we're now moving on to the next thing. I think the Brexit people are still worked up about that. But those people ain't interested in you. Those people ain't clicking like, they're not sharing, they're not paying attention to anything you post, but they need your number so that they have 100,000 followers, so that somebody else gains some final destination. Often something with a paycheck attached to it. So we got to be much more conscious about how we maneuver in social media. So the folks that it's fallen away continue to fall away. You didn't care anyway. I'm actually using something that is built into Instagram and helps you to determine people who are least active with you in a 90-day period. And I'm going back a little further than the 90 days. Some of y'all ain't been active in a year, in 2 years. And so it's time for me to stop following you. And you can always continue to follow me. But the Goddess Initiative, Twitter is just as scary as Instagram, just in a very different kind of way. Now, what I like about Twitter is it's almost like the aggressive driver. Y'all have a false sense of autonomy. Even if you got tinted windows, you think you can't be seen. You think, you can't be identified. You cuss, scream, throw stuff, act a fool, drive. It's a mindset behind aggressive driving. And that's what I see on Twitter. Twitter is a whole highway of aggressive drivers. And they're throwing out what they ate, what they threw away, how they feel, about any person, place, or thing, or even themselves. And then 5 minutes later, they're selling you on their mastery in Hoodoo and conjure and candle work and spirit work. And, they got space available, in the next hour for you to come and get your reading. And then when, 5 minutes later, they're back to regurgitating foolishness. And so Twitter is a lot as scary and dangerous as Instagram is, but in a very, very different kind of way. I like Twitter because you indeed can interact with people, even celebrities, even politicians, in a very open and honest way. But you got to be quick on the trigger finger in Twitter. And you have to be discerning about who you're following, and more importantly, what you're posting. You can't expect a celebrity to see you post your ass all week to then want to be friendly with you and discuss politics on Saturday. You know, post and discuss recipes on Sunday. It's just not going to happen. I think there's a population that forgets that this is a part of our identity. I mean, this is the part of your Mark of the Beast number because you got an ISP address. So everybody got the Mark of the Beast. Everybody got the number. It's in your hand. It's in your hand. Okay. Or it's in your forehead. It's in your desktop. It's in your connection to the highway. You know, so while y'all are still worried about state ID, driver's license, nationalized ID, it's right here. It's right here. And they can follow you, find you, locate you, you know, figure out what you done ate, what you done did. It's in your device, you know. And y'all know I'm not a conspiracy theorist kind of teacher. So I'm not trying to scare y'all. It's the reality. Because I'm not scared. I'm not saying or doing anything in demonstration, both on or off the air, in any device that I can't stand up to, that I can't speak right out to your face, that I can't regurgitate back in a court of law. I don't have a split life. I don't have multiple personalities, meaning I don't have a dozen usernames. Some of y'all listen, I know people personally that got 20 active profiles on Instagram. And they use the various personalities of these 20 different profiles. See, this is what got me in trouble 2 weeks ago, Neophyte Bokur. And they started because I said this, and then they started playing with my Instagram. They got 20 different profiles on Instagram, commenting, liking, resharing each other. And that's how they build this $50,000, $60,000 follower scenario. And some of y'all not paying attention. So they got 50,000 followers. What's being posted? Are they selling something? Are they teaching you something? Are they offering you something? What's being posted? And so we confuse popularity with authenticity. We confuse popularity with doing something real in the world. And as I think it was Kiona said, a lot of these people broke. We ain't got to have access to your account. You posting it. They have no job, no income, no sense of get up and self-esteem, no sense of let me create a business for myself because I don't like jobs. Ain't nothing. Listen, that was me at 15. A job? Are you a job? Okay. But I also knew better that skill, talent, that is a job if you go at it like a job. And that requires some of the stuff that y'all don't like. Facts, knowledge, information, studying, research. I don't care if it's hip hop, rap. Any successful hip hop artist is going to tell you it's a full-time job. They had to research, they had to study, they had to learn, even if it was hard knocks, even if it was from experience, and you fall, you bump your head, you get your ass up and you keep moving. It don't drop down in your hand. It don't fall in your plate. It's not in the lotto ticket. Oh my God, it's not at the casino. Okay, the casino is designed to make money. The casino is not designed to give you money. Understand that, okay? It's designed to take your money. It's the modern day pimp. Okay, bitch better have my money. Okay, and that's your casino. That's your lottery. That's your, there are no quick exits into having the life that many of you desire and dream of. It takes real hard work, I like the new Hip Hop Chronicles. Is that what it's called? It's a reality show, and each week they have a different hip hop artist on, talking about their history, their experience, what they saw, what they lived through. I might have the name wrong, but I think it's called Hip Hop Chronicles. And I'm not sure what network it's on, so I'm gonna have to get back with you on that. But they're telling the story. Big Deb and Lil Kim, I mean, they telling the story. Dr. Dre, they telling a real story about what we had to do, how we got from there to here. And some of them admitting to crimes and criminal activity and doing all kind of nonsense that they clearly seek to separate themselves from today. That they work extra hard to do community service and education to try and prevent somebody else from doing it today. Okay, but the streets is now the superhighway of the internet. Hello? And everybody's here, from the brother and sister that's incarcerated to the brother and sister that probably should be incarcerated, to the mama, the grandmama, the lady, everybody's here. The streets is now in your house and connected to your power supply. So we got to be much more conscious in our activity, much more conscious in our desire to learn, much more active in our homework building skills. You know, person, place, or thing. Even if I'm buying a product off of Amazon, a whole bunch of stuff come up. And sometimes a whole bunch of suppliers come up. Oh yeah, okay, open tab to this supplier location. You know, what's their history? How many of y'all even look at the ratings when you buy a product? I do. Who said what about it, and should I really buy it? That's why my own 5-star ratings are so important to me. It has everything to do with the value of my service, the depth of my service, what people are gaining. And look at the date. Consistent date, consistent footprint, not just last month, not just last year, not just 5 years ago. You got to be willing to do some homework on these people.
90 seconds.
That's cramming hoodoo and root work and conjure and voodoo and lo-why and orisha down your throat. Down your throat. Just because it's a shop, don't make it a temple. Don't make it an elay. Don't make it an active house. Just because it's a tour guide in the middle of Congo Square, don't mean he have a house. Don't mean he have a community. Don't mean he's operating actively involved in the process of voodoo in New Orleans at all. At all. So if the consumer is smarter, they're forced to change their behavior. I don't care what we're talking about, person, place, or thing. If the consumers get smarter, then the Babalawos will stop showing up in your email. They'll stop duplicating people's profile. They'll find another way. They're gonna find another way in. But that road is closed. I'm about to move around, y'all. Kiona, I so am grateful for your shining your goddess presence on us today.
And thank you for having me in this space. I appreciate it. You know, this is much needed. You know, a lot of us are too smart to be good dummies out here. You know what they say: if you see a sucker, lick it. And these people are playing you, and they're playing you for stupid, taking your coins and selling you something that they don't practice, they don't live in. And then when you get in a bind, they tell you to have faith.
That's
So you
right.
have to know what's real and what isn't. And if you're not sure, don't do anything.
Right. Drop your anchor, hold your peace, keep researching, keep looking, keep looking, keep looking. And I like what Kiona just said. You know, y'all not crazy, y'all not ignorant, you know, but they get you at the emotional level. They get you when you slipping. They get you at, you know, well, it's got the right look to it. This must be okay. No, it ain't okay. And when they start duplicating profiles and whatnot, they're pulling elements that they know you're going to just gloss over quickly. Okay, so if it's my page, how come it ain't got none of my regular followers on it? All these phony pages got a complete list of followers that I ain't never heard or seen before, and ain't connected to none of us because they believe they can hide. If I don't follow his followers who have other followers following those followers, I won't be readily found out. I won't be readily seen. And unfortunately, this audience is just too erudite for that. Because y'all be on it. I'm telling you, they be on it, Neophyte Bokor. They be all in my DMs. They already got the screenshots. They didn't already reported. You know, they didn't turn these people around and upside down every way but loose. You know, and often it's something as simple as DIVI period NE. Sometimes it's as simple as, you know, 1, 2, 3 added to the name. That's another dead giveaway. Profiles that have numbers in the name. Profiles that have numbers in the name. And if y'all are using your birthday, I don't think anybody does that. Use their birthday, their birth year. Well, I couldn't find, you know, Peggy, so I'm gonna do Peggy 1968. You can't trust those profiles. You just can't. Not today, not in 2022, 2021, going into 2022. You can't. So
A
we've
real
got
spiritualist doesn't have ego. A real spiritualist is not accessible. You have to make an appointment. You have to follow protocol. There's rules to this. So when you have somebody and they have a group chat and they have 500 people on and they're just reading tarot, where's the system? Who did you usher in? How did you open it? Who you just turning over these cards and just giving readings to random people? So you have to be careful. And also too with people, and I know you all out here listening, you trolls, you don't know people's spiritual ranks. Leave people alone. Drink water,
quit
take your
lying
baths, and mind your business.
and quit
Because
lying
you're going to end up getting yourself hurt and you're going to continue to stay broke.
and quit lying.
Food, great value is good when you cannot afford it. But name brand food tastes better. Mind your business. Get your coins up to where you can go and buy stuff of value, where you can have your own identity. Because you're too busy trying to be a cheap copy, trying to be like the divine prince when you're missing your own path and your own journey.
And your
Get them
own.
yellow stains off of your teeth. Flatten your tracks down in your head to where your hair weave don't look real, and get with it. It's a whole life to be lived. And I meant everything I said. They can take it however they want. But I'm serious about this culture and this path and what you've gone through. They want to sit there and look at where you are now. But where were they when you were roaming the streets as a teenager? Where were they then?
Not born. Not born, not alive. The complainers in Twitter and Instagram and Facebook wasn't even alive. Wasn't even alive. Or was under the 5th grade when I started out this journey. I try not to go there, but Kiona speaks to a particular demographic in our audience that needs to hear it like that. And that's why I love her and appreciate her. But man, drink more water and just quit lying. Just quit lying. And not to me, not to the internet, but to yourself. Just be more honest with yourself. And those doorways will open up, those opportunities will open up, those mentors will come forward. Just quit lying. And as long as we're lying about our growth, where we are in the system, how much we really know, how much training we really have, y'all are allowing these jinn to come in and play right along with you and create this elusive illusion that you're living in and continue to live in. And that's not a read. Y'all are posting it. Y'all are posting it. So I'm grateful, y'all. I got to move forward. I'm so dehydrated right now. I think it's that COVID vaccine.
Well, you're gonna have to lay down and get some rest. I'll be here tomorrow. I'll be calling in from a different location because I'll be at the office tomorrow. But I'm going to be present and making my responsibility to show up more because this is much needed for my life and my path. So I thank you all for having me.
And I'm grateful for you as well, Neophyte Bakur. Thank you for sitting with us. And
Thanks for having me.
I'll be here tomorrow. All is a blessing.